my life, I've like always kind of been thinking ahead, and it's like, how do I be the person I want to be in like 2 years instead of just kind of like letting it naturally happen. I think it has a lot to do with like not living a normal upbringing and like not being in school and just like figuring shit out. I think like Ty is somebody that I definitely leaned on. I mean, like he taught me how to shave. He took me skiing for the first time. That's from Modern Family, but it's an image of something that actually happened in our lives. You've been, a mentor for me in a lot of ways. God, the amount of stuff that I've told you and dumped on you and asked for your help on. I think I'm always looking for just more of that, and even like listening to like Chad talk, I was just like, oh, cool, I'd like tune in. This guy has something to say.
Hi.
Hi, we have the same clothes on again in this video. It's
what
crazy.
are we doing? It's nuts. Welcome to Quitters. Who's our guest today, Chad?
Today, our guest is Nolan Gould. Did I say his name right?
You said his name perfectly right.
Yes.
Nolan Gould, my fake
Your
son.
TV son.
My
Yeah.
TV son, who is all grown up. He is, God, I love this kid. I'm going to gush. So, you know what?
He's
You
a
should
cool
say
kid.
something responsible.
No,
'cause
I'm
gonna
going to
gush.
here's what I have to say is that as far as white guys go, he is pretty well-evolved, thoughtful, self-reflective, self-aware. He seems like somebody that you would want your white daughter to date.
I love that. And I love Nolan. He's in a place of transition. Stick around. Here's Nolan Gould. It is Nolan Gould meeting one of my all-time favorite people, new all-time favorite people, Chad Sanders, who is a smart, amazing writer, podcast host, writer on rap shit. Congratulations on the pickup.
Gracias.
Watch out, Nolan. This dude is smart.
Anybody that Julie hypes up, I trust her opinion on people. That was an awesome lead-in. Chad, do you give one for Julie?
Oh,
No.
God, that I like full body sweat.
No, I like that. Nolan's coming in and fucking it up. Yeah.
Julie's out on him.
I would do a good one for Julie. I would say Julie's so fast. She hikes so fast. That's kind of how I always describe
She
her.
hikes so fast. Strong girl, goes fast. This is a weird kind of meeting of the minds, just because we've interviewed Sarah, Ariel, Jesse, Ty, and it's very fun to have you here. Although you claim you've never quit anything.
Yeah, I'm not a coward. I don't quit.
I disagree. I think that there's lots of stuff in your life that you have definitely quit.
I've definitely quit a lot. Some better, some worse. I'm constantly, and maybe it's just because I'm so young, really trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. It feels like I kind of like constantly like quit like one career and lifestyle and personality path like once a week. So I'm just constantly going through death and rebirth.
How old are you, Nolan?
I'm 23.
23. Okay.
Yeah, about to be 24. So I've constantly been quitting school my entire life.
That's true. That's true. But you were really smart and didn't have to go to actual school a lot.
I was also very good at cheating.
What?
Most of my intelligence made it really easy to just kind of like take it easy and like make it through life.
I know you're smart. I know you're funny. I've known you since you were 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was my baby blocker.
Mm-hmm.
I was pregnant, and he was exactly the right height to block the babies. I know that you're smart, for real smart. Did you really, though, game the system to get by faster? Because who can blame you? When you're alone and it doesn't really matter, who cares?
So when I was 13, I graduated. I didn't graduate high school. I finished high school. And there's like an important distinction there. I got into 10th grade, and then halfway through 10th grade in California, you can basically take something called a CHESP, which is like a GED. And so I guess in a way, like I finished high school by just like beating the test. I can probably do anything that would be on the CHESP, like the GED, but everything else I have no clue how to do.
It's like a very steep, narrow cliff, and you just drop off on either side.
Yeah. I can walk a very thin line. Like I can write like a solid argument essay, but if you ask me to do like geometry, you're on your own. And then after that, I did like 2 years of community college, and I got accepted to USC Film School. And I think that was one of my first big quits. The show ended up getting picked up for like 2 more years after that, and then I had the option of going earlier last year, and I decided not to go.
Why?
It's still something that like I grapple with a lot, but I think was ultimately like the best choice for me. Art is something that like can't really be taught. It can only be like something that you can practice and like fail at constantly until you kind of like get a grasp of it. I decided not to go and like have someone talk to me about art, and then instead just like do it on my own and like fail upwards basically until I can make something that I'm happy with.
I want to know what Chad thinks of that art can't be taught. You mean creative art, like writing?
I would also love if the viewers could personally DM me their entire views on what I just said.
And pictures of your fancy diplomas from art schools.
I think there's something to it on face value. It resonates with me. I didn't go to any screenwriting classes or anything like that. I mean, I think that most of it's trial and error. I also think if you were sitting in Nolan's spot, it's like, why do I need to go to USC Film School and learn with people who, these people are here to get into this industry, and I already am in the industry. Like, what's the point here?
I don't know how I feel about that. I think the greatest creative moments can come out of just sort of moments of inspiration, but at the same time, I think that the discipline of, like what Nolan is saying, doing and failing and then trying again and doing and failing, trying again. Some of that, some people aren't going to be able to muster up that kind of structure for themselves unless they're in a school. And that in that trying and failing and doing again, then those great moments will strike and they'll actually be ready for them, possibly, as opposed to out at like Joshua Tree tripping balls.
Yeah, I think the structure can help some people take their shot. Are you experimenting and like failing and doing the thing that you felt like you could do just as effectively or better on your own?
Yeah, like most people, I do better with some kind of like curriculum and somebody like keep me on top of myself. And it's especially been hard one with like the show ending, and then two, being stuck inside my house, losing my brain for 2 years. There's certainly given me a lot of time to like be creative and kind of explore, and I have been like very, very slowly failing in the correct direction. I've been working on like writing a project with my best friend for 5 years, and that is actually something that like we have quit so many times, and it's one of the few things that I'm glad that I haven't quit. I guess like it would be the opposite of this podcast. It would be like I'm glad I didn't quit this thing.
How do you actually get to the point of those mini quits when you're writing with? Is it Sean?
Yeah, my best friend Sean. I love when I get to sit down and like actually write and be creative, but like most of what it is like typing in Google documents and like proposing edits and then like adding the edits and then getting rounds of notes and all these things that don't particularly feel creative. And I think like as two very like creative kind of like all over the place people, we don't thrive super well in that environment, and you just constantly hit roadblocks and like hear no's or change this. But I think one thing that we kind of agreed upon for ourselves is that we're not going to let ourselves quit. I'm somebody who like says no to myself like a lot in my head as like some kind of weird like protection mechanism where it's like if I say no, then I can't go and fail at the thing, and then I don't get that rejection. I think maybe like a lot of people can empathize with that. And I just got like sick of it, of kind of like never going for the things I wanted in life. And so I was just like, I'm going to keep throwing myself at things until I hear no from like other people or from networks or writing partners or whatever it is.
What are some things you wanted that you didn't throw yourself at?
I think like, oh man.
What is that smile? Where?
Other than girls. He means other than girls.
Other than girls.
I didn't mean that actually. But
okay.
That's a
I'm
fair
sorry.
qualifier. Yeah, I meant all things included. All things, people, and experiences included.
People is an obvious one of like connections like you wanted to have with somebody, or maybe like even connections you did have but like weren't willing to go like far with because of like the own voices in your head. I got into Brene Brown recently. Love her.
Oh, you know who loves Chad? Brene Brown.
Oh really?
Brene Brown, like
She does. I love her back.
she loves her.
She's
some
on the
Chad.
back of my book.
Yeah.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
I love her. I was watching she has an HBO show called Atlas of the Heart, and
Yeah.
they used a clip of Modern Family where like Luke like grows up over the course of like 20 seconds.
Was it you?
It was when Alex and Haley's show, Phil, they're trying to make him cry. And so they show like a 30-second video of me growing up, and I was like, this means the world to me. People kind of like try to like game the system in my head. I think I already kind of said that before. I would, so like, this feels like it's heading towards failure, so I'm not even going to bother.
Right.
Like, this feels like rejection. This feels like, but like, you can't control life like that, and like, you never have like any clue.
You kind of do, though. Because you can quit.
I do keep running straight into the same problems in my life. So.
I mean, but we all have the ability. No one, at least, that's on this Zoom right now, doesn't know where their next meal is coming from.
Uber Eats.
We're not starving. I'm not saying that if we continue to act like assholes or something, we're not going to be bankrupt.
Sure.
But if you know that you've got your basic comforts and stuff met, you can afford to take fewer chances and justify it as that's just going to fuck up what I've got. Why have people not like me because I write a script or hear no or put all that time in and then have them say no? What did that get me?
I suppose it would depend on what you qualify as the good thing.
Fuck up the good thing? Okay, that's really interesting. So what is your good thing?
Please, yeah.
God dang it, guys. We're really like just psychoanalyzing me here, huh? I'm in the hot seat.
I mean, I want to get to know you. I feel like Julie already kind of knows you, so I'm like...
I'm going to circle back to this. I'm going to put a pin in it. But my new quit is why I quit doing podcasts with Julie Bowen.
And that's it, guys.
Now the world knows my inner workings. No, I think what is the good thing for me? I think living like very intentionally and truthfully and like basically becoming the person you want to be and like being okay with like the idea that like who you wanted to be in the past is no longer you.
Who did you want to be?
I don't particularly like I have an answer to that. I've maybe like coming out of the show and stuff, I made a very like particular lifestyle for myself, and it's not a bad one. I'm very lucky to have it, but I think like maybe like I prioritized the wrong things at certain points. By the way, that doesn't mean like I'm like some crazy like drug person or something like that. It's actually like the exact opposite. I'm living like a very suburban like lifestyle, and I'm lucky for it, especially in times like these. But as I kind of get older and like I got comfortable with like the good thing of like having a house, and it's like I've got my couch, I've got my TV, I've got my subscriptions to Netflix, and like I can like post up here forever and never leave the house. And I realized that like what I really enjoy in life is connection with people, like seeing my friends as much as possible, meeting new people, experiencing things, and also like creating art. I mean, we've all like heard about like, you know, the American dream, like being dead. Like if I could live in like a little like studio apartment with nothing but like my laptop, so I could like just write, and like cameras so I could just like film stuff and like just try to like leave something like lasting and like make a difference. I'm gonna listen back to this. I'm like, oh god, this is like, shut up, dude.
Nah, you're doing great, and you're keeping it real. We really appreciate that. Is it because the constraint of that makes it feel like you would just lean into that, or are you just saying all you need is a box, a camera, and a computer? You don't need much more than that.
I think what is it? It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs or something like that. I guess for me, like the pyramid got rearranged. It's like, okay, like I have all of the like base human needs, and then it goes up, and now like the stuff that's supposed to be very at the top, like the things that like really make like life worth living, are kind of like falling by like the side of the road.
But that's exactly why it's the hierarchy of needs. You can't feel the need for those things until you have all the other ones met. The theory is you won't feel the freedom to get rid of your nice suburban house or car or Netflix subscriptions and move into a tiny studio with just your computer unless you had the experience of all those needs being met and seen that having those met are only fulfilling to a point, keeping you alive. But are you connected? Are you fulfilled? No. That's the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, you're not necessarily happy or connected, or like you live in the suburbs and then you're just like further away from everybody, and like the neighborhood mom is running out to tell you about like the break-in that happened 2 streets over, and like she's like inviting you to like wine night, and I'm like, what is
that?
This?
Anne? Was that Anne? Was that my friend Anne?
Was it? Is it your friend Anne? No, it wasn't Anne. She might have been gossiping about Anne.
Okay. He literally lives in like a adorable suburban, like tree-lined street with lots of moms and kids. And then there's Nolan.
That's dreamy, honestly. That's really nice.
It's very dreamy, and which is why I'm not like trying to act like I'm complaining about it. I kind of want to take some steps back. Like I kind of want to live a lesser life because it makes you more hungry for the things that I particularly care about at the moment.
And now a word from our sponsors.
You know, mattress in a box companies are a dime a dozen. New ones pop up every week, and many of them don't last. Safa's different in every way, Julie.
I know. It seems like every Shark Tank wannabe these days is jumping on the mattress in a box bandwagon. There are literally hundreds of mattress in a box startups out there. But as many of those aspiring mattress mavens have learned, the mattress business is not so very simple.
It's not. If you Google mattress company bankruptcies, you'll get nearly 4 million hits.
So if you want a mattress company that won't quit on you, do what I did and get a Sattva luxury mattress. Sattva was started by real furniture professionals who've been in the business for over 45 years.
And because Sattva sells online without the retail overhead, they can offer a mattress every bit as good as the premium retail brands, but at about half the price.
And every single Sattva mattress comes with a lifetime warranty. One that's not going to quit on you prematurely because they're not going out of business. So right now,
get $200 off your purchase of $1,000 or more at sattva.com/quitters. That's SAATVA.com/quitters.
Sattva.
Julie and I were texting earlier and are like, what are we going to talk about? And for me, like the big thing that's in the frame is like you both were a part of something that was enormously successful. You're really still a part of it, even though it's not like you're not shooting it anymore. It was 11 years of your life. For you, it was like half of your life at this point, right? Almost.
Yeah, there was a point where it was exactly half of my life.
I mean, you're still really young and you're like on to the next phase. You're smart, like you're talented, you're creative. It sounds like you have all the pieces on the board to do whatever you want to do. How do you even narrow it down to the things that you wanted, the things that you want to get done? And within that, being a part of a super successful show, like, is that checked off or does that feel like now an open-ended responsibility for the rest of your life?
Oh, interesting.
Is that for both of us?
Julie first.
She must really love this because she doesn't have to do this because she's already done something great.
Okay, did you guys watch the Emmys the other night? I know this is going to air way after it. They attempted to do something really nice, and I mean zero disrespect to whoever planned this, because I know the intention was to honor something. They were like the original cast of the Brady Bunch, and Florence Henderson's gone, and dad is gone. It's like, and so there's sort of four of them, and it just feels weird, especially since they're all the kids and now they're older, and Nolan especially has this burden, which I will never share because he got famous as a child. People's looking at you and wanting you to remain this person that they know in their TV, on their screen. It is uncomfortable and weird to see that person change or grow or be something different. It feels like if you don't want to stay there and stay relevant and stay public, that there's something wrong with you. And yet at the same time, there's everything wrong with trying to stay relevant and stay public. You can be relevant and important because you work at a food pantry. You can be relevant and important because you do homework with your kids at night. But this idea that is this pinnacle, which is actually the way you set it up, Chad, like you've done this thing. So is it all just, did we peak and that's it?
Who specifically makes you feel that? Is it the presentation of the Emmys and like, look at this great thing these people all did back then. Who cares about them now?
It's 100% you, Chad. Yeah,
it is me. Okay, I thought it was. Damn
I feel your eyes gazing upon me in every action I do.
Is it the person in your life who says shit like what I just said, which is like, wow, you did something so cool. Why would you even want to do something else cool?
For me, I think it's all the years like of what Nolan, I think you were saying you wanted, all the stuff that you kind of missed as growing up because you grew up, first of all, on a set with a bunch of adults who loved you very much. And we're so excited when you lost your virginity. I'm kidding. I didn't know anything about that. In my own mind, there was this goal. There were many goals, but to be on on a successful television show that ran for a long time, that's big for an actor, any actor. So it is definitely a pinnacle that I didn't look behind it to see then what. I didn't look to go, oh, it's a downslope. I never looked.
Is it a downslope?
Perceptually, probably, but I don't really give a shit.
I mean, like, honestly, like, what do you feel, Julie? Like, not to me or somebody else. Like, what do you feel?
I talked about, like, my relationship with my body and never looking at the scale. If I was a really healthy person, I'd look at the scale and go, who gives a shit? A super unhealthy person looks at the scale and freaks out. I'm sort of in the middle, I don't look. And that's the way I've managed this. Also, the other side of coming off of Modern Family or whatever is I didn't invest in the forward-facing public aspect of it. I was never looking through Getty Images for pictures of myself or like reading trash magazines or whatever, because I always knew it would end and I never wanted that to feel like it was my value. So I think I'm handling it the same way, which is not looking. I think the reality is probably if I really looked and invested in it, that might be really painful.
And I'm not trying to overly direct traffic here, but because you all have such a history, I'm curious, and Nolan, I want to ask you the same questions. Like, does that answer sort of check out in the way that you see Julie as a person, like, and what you would have expected her to say?
You don't really like realize and feel that like history and like goals meeting and like all these things are happening to you in the moment. Because I don't think actors or creatives really have like that forward thinking mentality. At 10 years old, I wasn't being like, all right, cool. This is it. This is the pinnacle of my career. I was just happy to be like on a set. I think for all of us, like, hopefully if your brain is in the right place, if you're doing this kind of thing, it's the actual enjoyment that you get out of doing it, not the like success. The success is like a byproduct of it. But I think a lot of people view it as like, that is the end goal. For me, I just liked being on set. I didn't want it to stop. And now that it's over, people are like, cool, so now you just get to relax for the rest of your life, right? I'm like, who the hell wants to do that?
Some people do.
I guess maybe we're very privileged that we get to be doing something that like we love and like fulfills us. And it also happens to be a job. What do you do when you meet that goal of like, cool, I did this thing that like everybody else would kill for? It doesn't take away like the hunger and like, I still want to be on a set.
It's like where you have to starve yourself and train and you just want to win the match. And then you're so glad you don't ever have to go back to training camp. Like being on set and doing what we did all the time, it was so fun. And Nolan, I'll tell you, so Chad and I interviewed Jeanette McCurdy, who just wrote that book, Her Mom Died. I was asking her how she got over her eating disorder, and she said that she had a therapist who gave her, Chad, it was a lot of values to go through. I in my mind it was 900. It can't have been that many.
Yeah.
But she had to go through these and like cross things out and circle them. So she got down to like 5 or 7 core values. It
was like 600. Yeah, down to 5.
About who she wanted, what resonated with her truly, what was truly her. Uniquely her out of 600 options. Does this decision I'm making to purge, fuck this guy, change houses, buy this car, does everything I do match up with these 5 core values that I've decided? And in that also is a way to decide things that make you happy and fulfilled. And she quit acting and is very happy and fulfilled writing. Since we interviewed her, I have been having a real existential crisis because I'm like, I don't know what makes me happy. Going to work made me happy. The process of making something fun and delightful, not of it being on TV, not of going to award shows, just going there every day.
Yeah.
And being around the smartest, funniest people in the world, it felt like to me, that's fun. And without it, I'm not really sure what the fuck I'm doing.
I think like most actors I know have like a terribly low sense of self-worth. And I know that like that seems insane because like we hear just like horror stories of like people, you know, being divas or like going over the top and like having like hugely inflated egos, but like in a way that's just protecting their own little fragile
Jesse. Just
core.
like Jesse.
Just like Jesse Tyler Ferguson. What a horror to be around. Like we all have kind of like low sense of self-worth. My acting teacher told me that I have a low sense of self-worth, and I
Wow.
need to, like, I'm supposed to approach all situations now like I belong there, like I'm good and I'm good at what I do and I'm meant to be there, because like just the nonstop rejection can really get to you. But like for actors, like unless you have a really like incredible like support system and social life and hobbies and interests and all these things that kind of like give you that value outside of acting, so that you can kind of be like, these are my things. Whether like for Julie, it's
Nothing.
family, it's nothing.
Yes.
Julie, it's family, raising her kids, producing, and for me, it's refreshing my email until an audition pops up.
But that's not altogether true, because you were doing a shitload of traveling, never bought a first class ticket, always travels coach, puts things in a backpack, has traveled all over the world, has gotten your diving, all kinds of diving licenses, all the way up to, are you a rescue diver yet?
Yeah, I'm a rescue diver.
Holy shit, that's a lot of hours to go through. And you were rock climbing. You have all of these hobbies and interests. Are they not fulfilling?
In a lot of ways, what I kind of came to the conclusion recently, like they are, like scuba diving, that's just for me. Rock climbing, that's a mental and body problem for me to work out. All of the traveling and filling your life with things and like distractions and like, wow, look at this full life that I'm living. I got to see this thing and do these things and these incredible experiences. Again, very lucky to have done them. And now that like I'm kind of like moving past them, I was like, it was always kind of make up for the fact that I wasn't like on set. And if like that's really what I want to do, and I think like the more time I spend not doing it, and the more neurotic I get, and the more I just have like dreams about being on the set of Modern Family again, I think I realize like that is ultimately like where I belong and like want to be and need to be for like my own human happiness. And so like, how do I live like a very intentional life of just like, I'm staying in LA and I'm buckling down, and I'm like, right now I'm reading a book called How to Tell a Story by like The Moth. And like, how do I just build my life very intentionally around this thing that I know at like its core matters the most to me, instead of trying to fill my life with everything else to make up for the fact that I'm not doing it. And I know that like it's ultimately like what I want to do.
I really thought before we talked today that you were going to say, I'm really fulfilled not chasing Hollywood or pursuing Hollywood. I had the opportunity to go to USC. I didn't do that. I am writing, like maybe that you were going in that direction. But to hear that really it makes you happy to be on set, fucking, I'm touched because I was part of that. I don't think every day with me was your finest day. But like,
Julie made me cry on set a lot of times.
Oh, when you were
is that
really
true?
little.
How so? Why?
I'm clumsy.
Can
It was
he
really-
answer the question?
No, I have to defend
Actually,
myself.
no. I've
how
got
did
my
she make you
answers.
cry?
I'd like to hear her. Go ahead, defend.
No,
and then
go
I'll
on. I want to
prosecute.
hear about it. When he was little, he was a little boy, and he was, would like kick me in the shins or, smell this, and like he was a fucking little kid. And one day I thought I would be playful, and there was a bowl on the counter.
Yeah, it was a bowl of like pancake batter.
I was like, I'm gonna stick his face in the cake batter. I'm gonna be like, smell that cake batter, and then I'm gonna stick his face. I didn't get the angle right because I'm a fucking klutz. But from where I was, it looked like he was over the bowl. But he was only halfway over the bowl. So I smacked his sweet little head into the side of the bowl. And I don't remember if there was blood.
Oh, you made him actually cry, pain cry. Like not even
Physically.
like an emotional cry, like a pain.
Well, it started off with pain sobs, but then there was a girl on set that day that I had a crush on at the time, and she just saw me like sob, which then became embarrassment sobs, which
Wait a
then
minute,
it came
the
to
day
like
I smashed your head into the bowl, there was a girl there? You were like
there was
6.
a girl there.
So Julie delayed your virginity quit by at least a year. Is the story?
I mean, honestly, having never stepped foot in a school in my life, I'd also like to think like Julie helped speed up that process. she gave me not all of the advice I got was the best, but
I was so mad at you one day, like fun mad, but we were fucking around with each other and you said something and you walked away. I was like, you know what, Nolan? Just for that, I'm not going to tell you about the other kind of orgasm women can have. And you stopped. And I could see you just standing there like, do I turn around? Is she fucking with me? I can look it up on the internet. I kept walking. I was like, God damn it.
That is a comment that would still stop me dead in my tracks to this day.
You're like, is she lying? If she tells me, is it true? Is this a setup that she's playing a long game? That's an Eric Stone Street kind of thing. Where like 6 months later, he's trying to fit an ice cube into someone's ear, and he's like, Julie said this always works. But I'm happy.
I think we got off topic there at the
It
end.
doesn't matter. I just am glad that you want to keep making some kind of creative pursuit, because I don't want to call it art because it sounds silly, pretentious.
I know
Right.
it does feel silly to like call it art. I think there's like an actor, it makes us feel better if we just like belittle it constantly, and like I'm making fun of it and like refusing to view myself as an artist or somebody making art. And also like the gut reaction to make fun of somebody that's doing slam poetry or, you know, these things that like you're putting yourself out there to really, I think, do it. You have to take it seriously enough and like treat it with like the intricacy and intimacy that like it deserves, or else you're always gonna be like kind of like tongue in cheek while you're doing it. I don't want to do that, and like I'm down to like throw myself at this forever. And like keep failing because like it's beats doing anything else. What am I gonna do? I don't have any talents or skills.
That's
I'm
not true.
gonna-
You're also a writer.
Yeah, I put them in a very same category. One is just kind of telling other people's stories through your own worldview, which is what I think acting is. I think most actors kind of just end up playing themselves, and like how would you react in this situation unless you're like an incredible like actor that just disappears into their character, and it, you know, can be anybody, be anything. I think you kind of just end up being yourself, and writing is telling your own stories and your own worldview, and then hoping other people can kind of follow through with it.
You do have an agent, and you are talking to somebody who's written 2 books.
Oh, I'm Chad right here.
To Chad. So
One book, and one being written
done
theoretically.
And, I don't know how you count that. But do you feel the same way about writing when you're alone? Like your acting teacher said, you don't belong here. What did he say? You had, I don't want to misquote you, low self-esteem?
Oh, I had a low sense of self-worth.
Wow.
That was
There we
fun. Yeah,
And
yeah,
that
yeah.
you need to act like you belong there. But when you sit down in front of your laptop to write something, which is like, to me, is like the hot, fiery keypad from hell. Suddenly I can't even touch it. I don't belong there. That's for smart people, not for you, Julie.
That's absurd.
You think you belong there?
No, I think you do too.
Just talk about you. You know what? Let's
No, look how nervous she got there.
She
Very.
gets really, really nervous when we talk about writing. She gets sweaty on armpits.
I'm pouring sweat right now.
I think everybody belongs there. I think everybody can tell stories. I think everybody should tell stories. I mean, we do just to get through our very day. You know, the second you start doubting whether you belong there, other people are going to like doubt you too. And especially if you hear, like, you tell yourself so much that you don't even touch the keypad, that's really sad. One of the weirdest things I ever wrote was like a short film about like getting abducted by aliens, and then it's like a dark comedy, and then what happens in the aftermath of like everyone just thinking you're crazy and like falling apart, and like it's garbage. But like it made me laugh, and it made me feel good. Don't reject yourself in your head, you know.
But you do it with acting. You reject yourself. In
I
your
know,
head.
I know. But that's the thing.
So I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Shut the fuck up.
I
You're
know.
like-
I guess because like I'm new to writing, but like acting feels like the thing that like since I started at 5 years old, and it feels like the thing that like my whole life has been based around, and like all of the societal expectations for my family, who's been incredibly supportive, but still it's a crazy environment to grow up in. And, you know, my friends and the entire spotlight of the world kind of cast upon you and all that. Like, that's certainly a lot of pressure to navigate. And so now I'm trying to, like, learn to take the pressure off of it and just be. And just, like, who cares if you don't get the part, as long as you submitted, like, the tape or the audition that you wanted to do that made you feel good at the end of the day, as opposed to what you thought, like, somebody else wanted.
You have so many different creative pursuits. Chad's a musician. In addition, I forgot to add that at the beginning. He's a musician, an actor, not full-time, but you're an actor. I've seen you.
You're saying the things I'm worst at first, but I appreciate
it. Okay, I'm saying the things that people might not know as much. Everybody knows you're a writer, a podcast host. And by the way, all kinds of different writing. Nonfiction and fiction, comedy and drama. Like, what... And I'm going to throw this back at you. This is one of my favorite questions Chad's ever asked. Who gave you, Chad, permission to sit in front of a keyboard and write whatever the fuck you wanted in as many ways, in as many styles?
I always feel really confident about writing. I've probably felt that way since I was like 6 years old.
Cool. Podcast over.
Yeah, right. But I don't feel that way
Strange
about
flex.
acting. Even just like shooting a 15-second, promo for my other show. Like I feel naked. Like I feel lost in front of the camera. I need someone to tell me like exactly where to be and what to do and who to be and like, is that good? Is that good? Is that good? Maybe that's the acting experience. I don't know. But I'm wondering for myself, is it just the thing that I have been validated the most? Is the thing that I feel confident doing? Or are some things actually gifts? Like maybe, actually, Nolan, when I just watch you and like your mannerisms and stuff, I see some reflection in that. Like I can see that you live in your head a little bit, which I think is a writer way of being. And you're both super sharp. So it's not a measure of intelligence. Julie's she's like super duper smart. But I see that Julie lives in her body. It's like the reaction happens in her body immediately when something happens. So I'm wondering for you as an actor, Nolan, how were you able to do the job, which I think happens mostly in the body, the acting job, but also be someone who is like so visibly like in your head?
It's something that I'm like relearning because we did 11 years of the same thing, and it just like our characters became us. They're part of our body and persona. What I found that's like worked in my own my personal like acting stuff is that like it's about feeling, like actually feeling the thing, not just like looking like you feel sad in a scene. And that can live differently for different people. I'm not a body feeler. I typically don't move very much. Like if I'm talking to somebody, like if I'm like getting broken up with, say, I will be dead still.
Wow.
Move.
Specific reference, and I'd like to come back to that.
Yeah, me too.
I would not like to come back to that. I mean, we can. I'm always down to get weird with it.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Chad, I know you went to a really fancy Culture Con this weekend.
I did. It was fancy.
I know, and you were treated like the star that you are. But when you're at home and have to make food for yourself, and they're not running around like, Chad, what can I bring you, Chad? Chad, let me peel your grapes. What do you like? What do you like to cook?
I like to cook myself a damn salmon rice bowl. Salmon, rice, in a bowl. Primal Kitchen no soy teriyaki sauce. Primal Kitchen squeeze mayo. I put all that stuff together. I stir it up really good. And I eat it, and it's bomb.
And those recipes are on the website, too, by the way. Like, you don't have to know how to cook, because I am a terrible cook, but I can follow directions. I'm a big salad girl. I love the keto Caesar chicken with pesto zoodles. So they're like noodles, but they're not, because you're making them out of vegetables, with Primal Kitchen organic extra virgin olive oil and Primal Kitchen Caesar dressing and marinade. That is for those of us who are really limited in the kitchen with our skills, but still want lots of flavor and good fats, good for your brain, good for your body.
Primal Kitchen products are made with a bunch of good stuff. High quality ingredients, you just said good fats, and plant-based oils, no refined sugar. And they're just delicious. That's the most important part.
In addition to their delicious, high-quality products, Primal Kitchen also has an amazing, simple mission to change the way the world eats with real food that uplifts and empowers us. I am so on board with that.
I'm also on board. +1.
Another thing about Primal Kitchen that makes me love them and trust them and want to buy their products just a little bit more is they are female founded by a mom, Morgan Bueller-Zanotti, who is the proud mom of 2 with another one on the way, and that baby's gonna have good fats in its brain. Find Primal Kitchen in your local grocery store or visit primalkitchen.com/quitters to get 20% off your order and get grilling. Find Primal Kitchen in your local grocery store or visit primalkitchen.com/quitters to get 20% off your order and get grilling.
I don't move a lot, and I'm like, you will get nothing, and like I'm very like I know that I'm closed off in that way, but all of the same things go on that happens in Julie's body, but inside my brain, and so then you can either decide like, okay, that's a problem. Let me undo it for this character. This person's gonna really visibly show and feel, and then I like try to just let myself like really like feel pain in my body. Things like that. I can be like, no, this character is kind of like me in that way. And like in this scene, like it's just all going on up here. And I think hopefully that's where kind of the real difference in acting is.
Julie, is the fact that you are so in your body just kind of like, what is the word? Like, you're very sudden. That's probably the best word for you. Like, you're incredibly sudden, I would say.
I think that's a lot of cover. This weekend, I got to spend 24 hours alone. I have not had that in months. Always either working, I got the ladies here, it's awesome, I got my kids, I'm doing something, and I was so happy. And in those 24 hours, I'm like, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to music, I'm cleaning the house, I'm doing some bullshit, whatever it is. I'm not sudden. I think it's because I'm uncomfortable.
Do you not want to be seen? Is it because if you're too still, like someone can really focus on you?
100%. The reason why I love acting is because when I was getting broken up with, long and slow and tortured, being gaslit and lied to, and this was with this old boyfriend years and years ago. He was breaking up with me long and slow and painfully and like lying to me, and we were living together. And I remember going to set one day, and this girl comes up to me. It was not on Modern Family, it was way before. And a PA comes up to me or something and goes, listen, you don't know me. I just have to tell you that my roommate is a PA on such and such, my boyfriend's, some production that he was doing. And she told me that they are completely together. And I just heard you saying that you lived with him. And I feel really weird because I don't know what's happening. And they're like, first team, and action. And I just remember in that sort of 10 seconds it took for me to like my gut to sink into my freaking bowels. Like my face was red. I was about to scream or cry or something. And they're like, first team. And I was like, oh no. I don't know what this scene is. I don't know what the words are. I am not here. I need to take 5, action. And he disappeared. And I was like, ooh, this is a good drug. This works. After between action and cut, he was dead.
I wonder with you with writing too, Julie, is it like, and I don't want to build up a huge thing of like, you're so scared of writing, because I don't think that's it. But like, are you scared of what happens when someone else reads it? Or are you scared of, are you not in love with the feeling of like, damn, I have to like face what I think is true right now to get it out here?
No, I have no problem facing what's true.
It's the judgment of the other side.
And it's also, I was a good student, I always got an A, and I knew how to get an A. It's really hard to get an A, like Nolan originally said. You have to be willing to keep failing in the right direction. And that means, like, letting somebody judge you.
Yeah.
Find you unworthy, and then go back again and back again and back again. That is scary to me. You probably always know what you're going to write. Nolan, have you ever sat down and been like, I don't know what I'm writing? Chad's shaking his head.
No, I definitely don't. No, I'm just like, no. I don't always know.
Sometimes you're just writing and you're not sure what you're going to be writing.
I know a couple seconds before it comes out. It's like, because I try to go for usually the thing that's like right at the front. So, and a lot of times that's not what's on my mind.
You're sitting down, you're like, I need to write something, op-ed piece. I need to write about...
I know the format, yeah, no doubt. Like, I'm writing a screenplay now. I got to write this scene. I know that, yes.
Yeah, I think that is where Nolan doesn't like school. I do, because I need that structure. Like, you said that you were always congratulated, Chad, on your writing. So you knew you were smart and you could, turn a phrase and you could get it on paper. But to to screenwrite, totally different skill set than writing an essay.
And I still don't know where I'm at on that, to be honest with you. I know I can do enough to get to the top of this thing, but like, I don't know how I compare to someone who's like a virtuoso screenwriter.
Would you quit any of the many disciplines that you're involved in? If somebody said you need to focus,
pick one.
What is the thing that you would focus on?
Man, this is such a crazy thing to feel, but screenwriting. To be honest.
Oh, that's the one you'd leave behind. Interesting. Ooh, that is interesting.
If I had to, I mean, I don't have to, but like if
No,
I
you don't
had
have to,
the other ones feel more like they just feel more like me. Like they feel more like I get to come through. Like my point of view gets to come all the way through.
And Nolan, what about you?
I'd quit writing. And I think it's because acting scares me and I hate it and I love it and it just makes me like passionate about it. And typically like the things that like I feel like fear is sometimes like a really good thing, that like running towards fear in my life has always kind of like paid out for the better, even if it's like hurts in its projection, but there's typically growth there. Am I wrong? Am I off, way off here?
No, I'm so stunned. I could barely hear anything past I hate it and I love it and I'm afraid of it.
Yeah.
Acting, the thing that I've seen you do since you were like a wee young thing.
Yeah.
Why is it so scary?
It has that like that level of importance to my soul. It really matters to me in a way that I don't want to always acknowledge, and it would be really easy to be like, that's just acting. I've been doing that since I was young, but because that it's so much more important, it just feels like everything, and so is really scary, and it's really easy to be like, I'm just gonna be a writer, and I respect anybody who does, and everyone makes their own choices, but for me it's like I'm just constantly like every like even reading the first line of a script that comes out and I'm like run away, shred it,
because you're scared of having to make yourself vulnerable.
I think it's just scared of something that's so important to me not panning out, and so instead of like running away from it, it's just like I have to keep recommitting to being like, clearly this means something to you. If you don't have some kind of visceral like gut reaction where like your dopamine gets released and your adrenaline and your fear responses, then like maybe you're not that passionate about it, or maybe it's too easy for you. If like love and hate are kind of on like are closer together than like love and like apathy. Like if you're like working your way down the scale, at least in my mind, it's like love and hate are pretty close together because it's still like a passion about something.
The fear thing resonates. I often feel like sometimes I'm working on stuff that I'm like waking up early in the morning, and when people hear this thing I said, or when they read that I feel this way, my family's going to be mad at me for this. White people are going to be mad at me for this. Black people are going to be mad at me for this. Like, that's like the space that I live in right now. It's really stressful. But also a lot of times those projects get made. Like, those are the things that signal that something's actually going to happen here. Julie, I want to sort of get wisdom from you in this regard. Like, I don't know if that's a sustainable way to live. Like, I don't know if I'm going to want that when I have kids. Like, I don't know if I'm going to want to be like, oh man, I wonder if my neighbor like heard that thing I said yesterday, you know?
I think that you are doing the exact right thing at the exact right time. Nolan, you probably don't know that Chad is engaged. She's going to get married. They'll probably have kids. But right now, you are not. And this is exactly, to me, the time when you take the biggest risks and you kind of plant not your flag at the top of the mountain, but your poles in that mountain of like, no, I am something that's going to speak my mind. It changes when you have kids. You can't take the same change. You can, but you have to be aware. There's a trade-off about how do I want this to impact, like, maybe, you know, my kids or my livelihood or my income. As far as energy goes, you're talking about putting yourself in a stress position to find that thing. I'm not saying you do it on purpose, but you said that when you find that bubbly tension between, are black people going to like it? Is my mom going to hate it? Are white people going to be mad at me? And that is kind of like living at the edge of the knife kind of a feeling, and that's the place where things get exciting and you feel good work comes out of. In my humble opinion, it's going to be real hard to share to have any energy left over for babies and your family, and like when there's no sleep, and that's why so many family couples start fighting when there's babies, because you're like, you can't just pop in and take care of the baby and then go back to the white hot edge of the knife and then pop back in with the baby and then go back in and be like, white people gonna like this, I'm just dealing with the baby. That's hard, but I think it's the right thing for you to kind of navigate right now to figure out. And by the way, flip side, I could be totally wrong, and it would be the greatest thing in the world to have a kid, because it might sharpen your focus. You could be one of those people who goes, I have 90 minutes, I'm closing the door, and you can really just like afterburners engage and then leave it behind.
Right.
Because you're forced to. I don't know.
You do know, Julie. You're telling me right now.
I don't, because I feel like my kids now are 13, and 15. It was a big marker to be talking to Nolan today because, I don't know, I had time. If they were younger than Nolan, Ariel, and Rico were when they started the show. You guys were all 10 and 11, right?
Yeah.
So now they're 13, and 15. I'm now where I was with like Nolan when he was a kid on the show, and I just watched those years went like, you know, you suddenly grew. You're fucking hilarious. You became like this young man, and you were also like somebody that I just wanted to hang out with. All of that was great, but I realized now we're in the fast forward part where they are on there. It's like I'm just doing cleanup sometimes when they need me, but basically they're going forward. And I gave all that time to Modern Family and them, and I'm sort of left holding the bag going, what do I like to do?
Who me?
Who me? Yeah, like
Me who?
what? Hello, Jeanette McCurdy. What are my core values? What do I like to do?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you like to go running, and I'm like, that is not that's a
not a
thing
life.
that's at 40 minutes of your day. I mean, the thing where you kind of lose yourself and you're so excited when people talk about like Ty Burrell, the greatest. The man has so many interests. He could spend a year like micro brewing or fishing. You know, or like carefully creating, I don't know, something by hand. Those are the things ultimately we're talking about striving and creating, but really the core things you can go back to that kind of recharge your battery. I don't have them.
Nolan, actually, I wanted to ask you both this. Literally, it could be tomorrow is the dream role that you want to step into occurs. Yeah. It invites you in. You step right into the outline of it. And that could like take you a wash for the next 10 years, right? Knowing what you know from having done 11 years on a very successful show, how would you step into that? Like, how would you get your spirit right to step into that? Who would you be stepping onto set day one?
It's tricky to say because you never know if like that project is going to be the project. I mean, I think even on Modern Family, it was kind of like a big old shrug when we finished the pilot. We're like, yeah, everyone says it's awesome, but who knows?
That's really cool. Like the unknown of that you all didn't know when you finished the pilot and it became Modern Family. Like,
no, because you never know.
Yeah. I know, but
know.
that's just really that's cool for everybody who's like fucking writing under a rock right now in that little box apartment you said, who's just like hoping and praying that anyone likes their thing. That's really inspiring that like you don't know, and then it's just Modern Family like that. I just think that's cool.
So I think it's just trusting that like you're at where you're supposed to be and like enjoying like the crazy chaotic ride and like surrendering yourself to like this is either going to tank the career or this is going to be everything. And then even once that 10 years is over, like hopefully you're still not done. If this is like what you're meant to be doing, if you realize it's not what you're meant to be doing, you quit and you move on. Like hopefully next time when if this comes around, this kind of magnum opus that you're talking about here, like I'm just ready. Ever since the pandemic hit, I've been in like an acting class every week on Zoom, just so that like I can be ready to seize that opportunity and like that self-actualization of like fulfilling what you're meant to be and not being scared of it and just enjoying it, because like you get to do the thing that you spend 99.9% of your life and time trying to do. So while you're there, don't fucking be weird about it. You know, enjoy
what is being
it.
Weird about it though? Because like Chad, I know you've been on sets and stuff, but when like if you guest star on something, it's weird. You're jumping on a moving train. It's a pilot. You're obviously you're in on the ground floor. But in this process, I assume you're guesting and stuff, Nolan, right now.
Yeah.
I love it. You're doing the work, but you said show up, do it, and don't be weird about it. It just came to mind, like, you know, in movies, I've never been to jail, guys. And in movies, everyone's like in jail, they'd like go up to the biggest guy and shiv him or punch him to like show who you are. Like, do you have a move for when you're guesting that to like make yourself known, but like in a good way?
And like 50 bad responses just like instantly went through my head. I was like, yeah, sleep with the producer. Yeah, just instantly. Go on and sleep with the producer.
All right.
No, it was kind of the opposite. It was like, fuck your ego. Because I did have that of like, I'm walking on to do a very bit part on the show that's been going for 19 years and everyone knows their thing. And that sometimes I was just referred to like, oh, you're the patient? All right, patient, come lie down. Everyone was very kind. It's a very great set. But like I get that like that urge to like set yourself apart and be like, I'm, here's the power move to show I am one of you. And it's like, what does that fucking prove? That's for me. That's for my own like frail ego. And like if I'm there just to act, like it doesn't matter. Maybe, I don't know, maybe drop a camera. Maybe can I hold the camera and then drop it?
I like that because our lives are weird and funky, and I'm sure you get it too. Where 1 minute someone will be like, "Oh my God, can I get your can I take a picture?" Like we were in a CVS in freaking Solvang, and the guy is like, he's like, "Nolan, hey, can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture?" And then no interest in me or has no idea who I am or whatever else. And then it could be flip-flop the next day, or you could be completely anonymous for weeks on end. Mm-hmm. And I love that you're like, you're building this and you're building it out of a real love. Because your ego is out of control. Can we be? No, I'm kidding. No, he's never had an ego.
my acting coach told me I needed more of an ego.
I know. Couldn't even pretend. I was like, it was out
by the
of
way,
control.
I'm gonna listen to this podcast. I'm gonna hate it. I don't know if you guys still do it. I've listened to every single one of these episodes that involves a former castmate of ours. Because I love stalking them. I'm kind of obsessed with them.
Did anybody say anything interesting?
Yeah, please.
It's obviously a very interesting. I could listen to Ty speak for hours, and almost like kind of his opposite. Like he almost feels like the opposite of me. Like he's done, he's good. Now obviously he'll work, and he likes working, but like he's done with Hollywood, and so like I'm very curious to see like when I get to be his age if I feel the same. But no, what I was going to say is I'm not looking forward to, I don't know if you guys still do it, where Julie and Chad break down what you're about to hear. And like Chad basically rates us. Where Julie is like, what'd you think of them? And then like Chad's going to be like, yeah, I was really surprised. Thoughtful guy. I'm not looking forward to that.
Straight white dude, didn't think there'd be much there.
Straight white dude, you didn't think there'd be much there. And guess what? There's not. He's neurotic. He thinks his opinion matters. Loves the sound of his own voice.
I am probably a little surprised by how well adjusted you are. Not only because you're a straight white male, but because because you grew up on TV. Yeah. I was actually going to ask, how much Hollywood work aside, like how much Hollywood do you participate? And I don't ask that with any judgment on it. I would probably participate in a lot of it, I would guess, were I in your shoes.
Yeah, I think you have to touch some of it to be part of it. But I haven't posted on my social media in like 2 months. I never went out to like parties and clubs. I was invited. Thank you very much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He was definitely invited. Don't forget the prime years of Modern Family, like being like, doors are open anywhere you want. You were between the ages of 11 and maybe 18.
Yeah, those were like the Modern Family big years.
Oh my God, it's on fire.
But so you came into puberty and dating and sex while on Modern Family, and you must have friends who have not had that experience. So like, how was your experience different from theirs? If you could share.
Good.
Okay, cool.
One of Nolan's secret skills is picking the best kind of guides or whatever you need. You attached yourself to Ty in a way that's not gross and glommy and weird or creepy.
Leechy, parasitic.
No, not at all. He clearly became a really important male figure for you. That was very obvious in like the last 3 years of Modern Family to me. Very obvious. And because you were drawn to what he has, which is this authenticness, and Chad loved him too. There's something so authentic about him that makes you want to be a better person. And first of all, you valued that. That would have been one of your core values, Jeanette McCurdy. But then you also pursued it. And you allowed him to sort of go, you know what? Give an A or B, I'd do A. And like he was always going like, yeah, the shiny stuff in Hollywood is bullshit. This is where the real shit is. And also get outside and hike and bike and climb and ski as much as you can, because that'll feed your soul. Yeah. And watching that process, this does go back to sex. I'm going to get to your penis in a second.
Sweet.
It's
That's
coming.
my favorite topic.
Hang on. But I think that was sort of more of a becoming a man story that I watched from the outside than, the day you finally got laid.
Yeah. Is there a question that, okay.
No, I'm just observation
sure
about
which
like because you and dating and sex and all that. That was always this like sidetrack to the main show, which was never on display, but for me watching it, you quietly kind of growing into a more confident person who had these interests and outside of Hollywood and outside of the show, and you were like, Ty, fish? Ty says fish. And then you guys would like wander off and like go fishing or do whatever it is that dudes do silently.
Yeah.
And I think that was the real foundational stuff that was made you now, I imagine, a better son, brother, boyfriend, person to date, all those things.
Yeah, I think, I mean, to that effect, I've always kind of been looking for like mentors in my life. I've like always kind of been thinking ahead, and it's like, how do I be the person that I want to be in like 2 years instead of just kind of like letting it naturally happen. I think it has a lot to do with like not living a normal upbringing and like not being in school and just like figuring shit out. I think like Ty is somebody that I definitely leaned on. I mean, like he taught me how to shave. He took me skiing for the first time. That's from Modern Family, but that's an image of something that actually happened in our lives. And like you've been, a mentor for me in a lot of ways. I don't know why it feels so silly to tell somebody like that to their face, but like it's true. God, the amount of stuff that I've told you and dumped on you and asked for your help on. I think I'm always looking for just more of that, and even like listening to like Chad talk, I was just like, oh cool, I'd like tune in, this guy has something to say, this like I see value that like other people add into your life, things you can learn from them even if you don't go their route. I don't know, I just love people, like most of my friends, to your effect that you were kind of going on earlier about, is that like a lot of them are that to me. I've got like a lot of like older brothers as friends and friends who are just different and that I can learn from.
Do people tell you look like anybody in particular?
You bastard, did she put you up to this?
No, I don't think you look like anybody.
I have someone.
I'm interested and I'm curious if we're going the same direction. Are you going Shawn Mendes with this?
What?
No.
Thank God.
I'm not.
Okay,
I guess
who are you
Julie
going
may have
with
gone.
this?
I kind of see James Blake, honestly.
James Blake, like the
musician.
the singer? Mm-hmm. Huh. Mm-hmm. I'll take that one. I've basically gone through a phase of every other white dude with curly hair that's in Hollywood or Hollywood adjacent. Yeah. Like when I started out, it was like everyone thought I was like Frankie Jonas, who is the youngest of the Jonas Brothers, the bonus Jonas. And then like slowly over time, I like got up towards like I was Joe for a time. I was Kevin. Then I was Nick. I think Nick. Julie's laughing because of my my thought pattern that the Jonas Brothers are just Wiggles for teenage girls. We went to see them at the Hollywood Bowl, and they were just. I was like, they were all like dressed in a very particular ways, and I didn't know the difference. I was like, oh, there's red Jonas, blue Jonas, and green Jonas. I don't know which is which. I've gotten Shawn Mendes. I've gotten
Shawn Mendes. That is very flattering. I mean, he's handsome, but that's not you.
Most of it, but James Blake. Okay, cool.
There you go. There's a new one.
I can live with that. You guys have rocked my worldview. I have no clue who I am anymore.
You're going to find out when you listen.
Yeah.
Don't worry. When we edit this and do like a deep fake and change everything, and now that we have enough of your voice on.
Make me seem smart.
You are smart. You are brilliant, and you are talented, and I love you very much.
Love you,
I always
Julia.
will, and you are a very important person in my life, and by a weird extension in my kids' lives, because you were my first older son, and they have you to thank for a lot, because I saw you do some weird shit, and then you turned out perfect. I really liked this conversation about creative endeavors. It took a weird turn, but I'm into it. I think that making space for creative endeavors, especially for me, needs to be a priority because I got too many people and things swirling around. But I love hearing, Nolan, that you came out of COVID and have become mad, smart, and creative and want to pursue things with a real passion.
I think art's good for the soul. It's makes life worth living. So like, go make it, whether it's for you or if it's for money or whatever. Yeah. And just that's a nice little sound bite you can add in there. So
No, we're taking that out.
we all learned something today.
It was not too much learning. We're cutting that out.
Make that his quote card. Thank you, Nolan.
Thank you,
Really
Nolan.
appreciate
you
it,
guys
man.
so much.
Thank you so much. I
This
can't
was
wait to
awesome.
talk about you behind your back.
Yeah, we're about to do that.